Hi, my name is Brenda Titus. I'm a professional hypnotist in Orange County, California. For information about myself and my program, including in-person sessions, please go to my website, ochypnotherapy.com. Thank you for joining me for this week's Thoughts from the Hypnosis Office, where I like to talk about helping you see things differently, think about things a little bit differently, or even understand yourself in a new and different way. And today's topic, we are going to talk a little bit about daylight savings time. Now, plenty of people like it or tolerate it, and plenty of people do not like it. Now, honestly, I think that part of the reason that people don't like it is a reminder that we are going into the darker part of the year, especially for the months of November and December. It's getting a little bit darker every day. The hours of daylight are getting shorter, and the reality is that daylight savings time can be a big jolt into that season. It's kind of like, ooh, where did my evening light go to? And that can be unpleasant, stressful for people, especially because it means that we're driving home in the dark, and it's a sudden and abrupt change. Of course, one of the other reasons that people don't like it, especially the first couple of weeks, is again, it is a big adjustment. And even though it's only 1 hour, it's like having jet lag. And especially for people who have kids, I can live my life and kind of say, okay, I'm more tired in the evening. I'm starting to get tired earlier in the evening, but then I can adjust my schedule and I can, go to bed a little bit earlier, or acknowledge that, I might fall asleep while watching TV until I get more adjusted. But of course, with the kids, it can just be a bigger adjustment. And so my years of following people on Facebook and seeing their different comments, that's kind of, those are a couple of kinds of reasons that I have seen over the years that people don't like it. Now, I want to think about, because suffering is optional, right? We this is going to happen regardless. So let's find a way to embrace it, and that's going to be one of the themes throughout the month of November. I think is how we can embrace the challenges that we have in our life, and have maybe even accept and have gratitude towards them. So one of the things that I want to challenge you on, especially during this time of adjusting, is that it's going to feel like we have a lot more time in the morning. So, maybe this is a time to really, especially before it starts getting darker in the morning, is to institute some great practices and habits right now while you're making that adjustment. And so, because this is what happens during this daylight savings time period, we are in the time of falling back. The hours come back 1 hour. So when we wake up those first couple of days, it's kind of the joke that if you didn't remember to do daylight savings time and to bring your clock back an hour, then you're going to show up to all of your appointments an hour early on the first Sunday and Monday of daylight savings time. So why don't we take advantage of the fact that our bodies are used to getting up at a particular time, and continue that pattern of getting up at the same sunlight time, right? And so that's kind of how I want to think about it, is so that our body is still used to what the sky looks like, which technically means that the hour on your clock is going to be earlier. But it also means that then you can start your day by getting some things done for yourself. So often people will say to me, well, how am I supposed to get my exercise done? I've got the kids, I've got work, I've got, all of these different commitments. And, and then commonly what will happen is, and people will say, well, I'll do my exercise at the end of the day after everybody's gone to bed. And I'll kind of look at them and I'll say, really? And they usually will kind of say, well, no, I'll be tired from all the rest of the things. And so it is very common that a lot of my clients, the preference is to start their days by doing something for themselves. Now, that could be your morning meditation, it could be your morning stretching, it could be your morning workout. And so I really want to think about that and kind of inspire you right at the beginning around, obviously being aware of the fact that, there is a truth around what time it is, and we need to be at places on time. Obviously, we want to use our time effectively and efficiently, but also maybe during this time while we're getting used to it, we could institute some new habits, especially for our physical well-being and our emotional well-being. So that's going to be especially my challenge for you this coming week while you're getting used to this daylight savings time, so that maybe you kind of set the alarm, even if it's that instead of getting up at 6, that now you get up at 5. But what do you know, when you're first starting it, that's it's going to still feel like the same as it was before the time change. And so then you can start getting that habit, and then what happens, we start doing it and we just stay on track, and it keeps getting better and easier to follow through with that habit. So I'm going to challenge you this week to put yourself on the top of your to-do list and get up early, bright and early, while the sun is still shining, and get some exercise, get your morning contemplation or self-hypnosis, and give yourself a really good start to your day. And so with that, I thank you for joining me for this week's Thoughts from the Hypnosis Office as we celebrate daylight savings time. Of course, it does mean that we are going into the darker times of the year and fall, which we will be talking about as we continue through the next several weeks. But with that, have a wonderful week.